Hi everybody, this is Professor West for GMC. Now that we have our presentations, now that we have our slideshows pretty much set up, we're going to go through and set it up for actually giving a presentation to other people. So that's what this video is going to cover. There's several different things you can do and several things you need to know. So for starters, normally you're on the Home tab. Come over to where you see the Slideshow tab. And the very first two says from the beginning. That's going to tell it to start at the very beginning, even if I'm clicked on this last slide. From the current slide would tell it to start the presentation there and just go till the end. So from the beginning is the one I'm going to choose. And right off the bat, you'll notice that my presentation is much bigger than the window that I'm recording in, because this should be centered and there's other stuff at the bottom that you can't see. That's okay. I'll show you how to fix that in a minute. First, let me show you how to navigate through a presentation. If I click the mouse button, it goes to the next slide. If I press the space bar, it'll go to the next slide. Or you can use the arrow keys. If I use the left arrow key, it goes back to the previous slide. And if I push it again, it'll go back to the previous slide before that. And the same with the right arrow key. It'll go to the next one, and the next one, and the next one, and so forth. Up and down does the exact same thing as left and right. Up goes backwards, down goes forwards. Typically, you'll use one or the other. You won't use up and down and left and right, because that would just be silly. Now, there's two ways to end the presentation once you get to the end. You can either keep going to the right until you get to the very last slide, and then press one more time, and that'll end it. Or you could push the escape key on your keyboard. It's the very top left button. It usually says ESC. So let me show you a few other tricks real quick. My presentation came up way bigger than this window that I'm showing you right now. What if I didn't want it to? Well, one thing I could do is come to Set Up Slideshow. And right here it says Presented by Speaker in Full Screen. I could change that to Browse by Individual Window. That means that whatever size this window is, that's what size it'll be. Now, there's some other things here that are interesting too. This one says Browse at a kiosk. It will automatically, that's like if you walk into a museum and it has a presentation going, and when it gets to the end, it stops and it starts over. That's a kiosk, and that's what this would do. So if I choose this option, when it gets to the end, we'll set it up so that it automatically shows each slide for a certain amount of time, and when it gets to the end, it would just start over. So I'm not going to do that right now, though. I'm going to choose Browse by an Individual. And I'm going to click OK. So now when I run my show, it doesn't take up the whole screen. It only takes up this amount. So that helps. Okay. Now, let me get off of that. So when you're on these slides, there's something else you can do. You can right-click, and that brings up a shortcut menu. And you could tell it to go to a certain slide. Right now I have 4 slides, so I could tell it, like let's say I have 50 slides and I want to go back to slide 3. I would just click that, and it would automatically go back to slide 3. And it would just pick up from there. I could also tell it to zoom in. I can tell it to copy a slide or edit a slide. I can tell it to end the show. Now, there's a few other things that I want to show you real quick. If I go back to, let's do Custom Slideshow. I have, oops, not Custom Slideshow, Setup Slideshow, sorry. Let's go to Setup Slideshow. I have some options here. Show without narration, show without animation, disable the hardware graphics, change the pin color, laser pointers, all this different stuff. slideshows, advanced slides. Right now it's set for normally for manually, but now I could change it to timings. So there's a whole lot of different options here. You can also record your show as you're making it. Like that way you could listen to it, see if you sound rushed on any of your slides and so forth, or record it simply to put it out to the company so that they can send it to people. We do that a lot for training videos. Somebody will record themselves going through a presentation, but instead of speaking to a whole room full of people, they record it and they send out the link, and then everybody can watch the video. So there's a lot of different things you can do here. And I'm going to leave it at that and let you go. I will see you in the next one. Bye, everybody.